George had always been a late riser. While the world outside buzzed with energy in the early hours of the morning, he remained in bed, wrapped in his blankets, ignoring the alarm clock that beeped tirelessly beside him. Noon was his usual wake-up time, and by then, most of the day had already passed. He convinced himself that it didn't matter. "I still get my work done," he would say. "What difference does it make whether I do it in the morning or at night?" But deep down, he often felt like he was running behind. He missed important meetings, rushed through meals, and felt like there was never enough time in the day. Yet, he couldn't figure out why. One afternoon, as he strolled through the town park, he spotted an old man sitting alone on a wooden bench beneath the shade of a towering oak tree. The man had a long white beard, twinkling eyes, and an air of wisdom about him. He was scattering breadcrumbs for the pigeons, watching them peck at the ground with a gentle smile. Something about the man intrigued George, and without thinking, he sat beside him. The old man turned and studied George for a moment before speaking. "You look restless, my boy." George sighed. "I don't know. I just feel like I'm always behind. No matter how hard I try, I can't seem to catch up with my responsibilities." The old man nodded knowingly. "Tell me, what time do you wake up?" George hesitated before answering. "Noon, usually." The old man chuckled. "Ah, that explains it." George frowned. "What does it matter? Whether I work in the morning or at night, the hours are the same." The old man smiled and tapped his walking stick on the ground. "Let me tell you a story, young man. It might help you see things differently." George leaned forward, listening intently as the old man began. "Long ago, in a quiet village, there lived two farmers, Ethan and Samuel. They both owned similar land, had the same tools, and raised the same crops. But there was one big difference between them. Ethan woke up at dawn, while Samuel slept until midday. Ethan would rise with the sun, stepping out into the cool morning air while the world was still waking. He plowed his fields when the soil was soft, watered his plants while the dew still glistened on the leaves, and finished his hardest work before the afternoon heat arrived. He had time to rest, to plan, and to enjoy his evenings. Samuel, on the other hand, would sleep until the sun was high in the sky. By the time he started his work, the heat of the day made everything more exhausting. His plants withered under the scorching sun before he could water them properly, and he always found himself racing against time to complete his tasks before nightfall. When the harvest season came, Ethan's fields were lush and full, his crop strong and plentiful. But Samuel's harvest was weak. His plants had suffered from lack of care, and his granary was only half full. While Ethan celebrated his success, Samuel regretted his wasted mornings. The old man paused, looking at George. "Now tell me, young man, who do you think was the wiser farmer?" George thought about it for a moment, then sighed. "Ethan, of course." The old man nodded. "And why do you think he succeeded?" "Because he used his time wisely. He worked with nature, not against it," George admitted. The old man smiled. "Exactly. The morning is a gift, my boy. It is when the world is fresh, when the mind is sharp, and when you have the most energy. Those who wake early move ahead while others are still dreaming." George sat in silence, absorbing the lesson. He thought about all the times he had rushed through his days, always feeling like he was behind, always playing catch-up. Perhaps it wasn't the world that was moving too fast, perhaps he was simply too late to join it. That night, George set his alarm for 6 a.m. When it rang, his first instinct was to turn it off and roll back into his blankets. But then he remembered the old man's words. He forced himself up, stepped outside, and breathed in the crisp morning air. The world felt different. The sky was painted in shades of pink and gold, the streets were peaceful, and the air carried a freshness he had never noticed before. Birds chirped in the trees, and the scent of fresh dew filled the air. As he sipped his morning coffee and planned his day ahead, he realized something: he had more time than he ever thought possible. From that day forward, George became an early riser, and just like Ethan, he found success waiting for him in the quiet, golden hours of the morning. Like, share and subscribe for more stories.